Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Spyderco Police 4 Lightweight, a fairly new and very large knife from Spyderco. These are all half-inch squares, give you an idea of this. You're looking at an overall length of, as near as not matters, 10 inches. So this is a big sucker. This is the newest version of a knife that Spyderco has discontinued. The original Police 4 was G10 handles with Bowler K390 steel. And they axed that in favor of this. That was about $200. This is $115.50. And instead of that K390 and G10, you're getting the usual Spyderco Seki Japan treatment of VG10 and FRN, or fancy plastic handles, as I like to call them. Yeah, and this is just a big, giant knife. I'm glad they kept this size and form factor, and a lot of people really love the Police 4, but they've decided to go this route with it. I use the term lightweight loosely, as Spyderco does. A lot of stuff that they call lightweight isn't really that much lighter weight. Lightweight just means FRN. This is only 0.3 ounces less than the original. So this one is 4.2 ounces. The other one was like 4.5, so 4.6-ish. So between 0.3 and 0.4 ounces lighter. Not that much lighter, but it is dramatically less expensive. Maybe it's lighter weight on your wallet. Maybe that's what they mean. I just wish they called them FRN. You know, when they did like the Tenacious lightweight and the Sage 5 lightweight, just call them FRN instead of lightweight. But maybe they don't want that name in the title. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into reviewing this knife. It is gigantic. You're going to see that when we get to the size comparisons. Police 4, what it was designed for, is pretty obvious. So yeah, let's just get into specs and size comparisons before we go any farther, just to show how big this thing is. As I said, overall length, as near as not matters, 10 inches. Blade length of 4.4 inches. Blade thickness, though, pretty thin at 0.11 inches. Handle thickness, also pretty thin at 0.38 inches. And weight, as I said, 4.2 ounces. And they do get the golf clap, because that is exactly what I weighed on my scale. So I like it when they get it down to the 100th. Bring out some size comparisons. We'll start out with our usuals, which are going to be kind of silly, and then we will get larger ones up as we go on. So yeah, this is a paramilitary 2. It's not even remotely close. Just to ramp up the absurdity, the Para 3 lightweight, which is actually a genuine lightweight. That's one time that you actually use that word correctly. And our usual Benchmates. We have your full-size Griptilian and the full-size Bug Out. Now let's get on to some stuff that might actually compare a little bit better here. I'm going to bring out some other very large knives. First of all, let's bring out one of its brethren. We have the Spyderco Native Chief, probably my favorite of the larger Spydercos. Actually, definitely my favorite of the larger Spydercos right now. And you can see it still dwarfs that pretty significantly. And, you know, what the heck? I mean, I have it here. I'm going to talk big knives. Bring out the old Cold Steel 4MAX Scout. It's still longer than the Scout. It's a very large knife, for absolutely certain. Now, talking about this knife by itself, not comparing it to others, the blade on it, typical Spyderco fare, it's basically a really long Endura, and about 25 thousandths behind the edge, very thin blade stock, full flat grind, cuts very well, very slicey. Tip on it is a bit skinny. You can say this about almost all of the Japan Spydercos, but it does slice really well. Spyderco's VG10, been pretty vocal about that. I don't really care for it that much. It's not the worst steel in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but they run it just a bit soft for my taste. I've never really liked that very much, but it does cut very well. It's just, you're just gonna be sharpening it a whole. It's super easy to sharpen, but you're gonna be sharpening it a fair bit. As far as the ergos go, they are excellent. And it has the bidirectional FRN that you see on all kinds of the Japanese Spydercos, you know, your Delicas, your Enduras, your Dragonflies, all that stuff. Plenty of places to grip. It is very nicely contoured. Now, I know I held an original Police 4, but I don't remember it having this. I could very well be wrong. It was a long time ago. but I don't remember it being quite this comfortable. It is extremely comfortable in the hand. You can choke up. You have the, the usual half choil, all the jimping and all that stuff, and it's extremely comfortable. I do like that a whole lot. You can grab it in multiple handholds. You can almost two-hand it. it's pretty big. Not quite. You can get like 2 3/4 hands on it. It's a long handle for sure. If you can't find a comfortable place to grip it, then you're fine. Or then there's something wrong with you. I mean, quite the opposite of fine. As far as the pocket clip hotspots, all that go, I mean, there are none. It's such a big handle. If there are, you can just move your hand a little bit and get away from it. But I don't find it in my normal natural grip like this. I find no hotspots whatsoever. Same story when I choke up. Don't feel this clip a tiny little bit. Yeah, it's extremely comfortable in the hand, absolutely, for sure, and very grippy with that bidirectional. It works really well. As far as the carry goes, not that bad for a 4.4-inch blade, for almost 4.5-inch blade. Spyderco does the usual very smart thing where they put their logo on for the pocket clip so that you're not rubbing on that bidirectional and tearing your pants up. I very, very, very much appreciate that. As you can see, the Spyderco logo is much larger on this knife though, because it is larger. It is a tip up, tip down, right hand, left hand carry. It's completely ambidextrous, so that's a very nice thing. Something to really want in a knife that's designed, for law enforcement use, because they may want this on an offhand or something like that. So you need that ambidextrous more than you do on a normal knife, because this isn't just for the 10% of the population that's left-handed. It's also just for law enforcement people that want to use it on the offhand. So it's going to get used a whole lot. It does slide in on the pocket very well. There is a fit bit sticking out. It's not super deep carry. I often give Spyderco a very hard time for that. And that's just in this tip up configuration, which is how I would carry it. Less showing when it's tipped down. But I'm not going to give it a hard time on this one, because what this knife is designed for, you probably do want a little bit sticking out so you can get your hand on it. I don't really have a problem with that at all. It is fairly thin in the pocket. Go away, Formax. Fairly thin in the pocket, easy to get your hand in and out. Pretty light for what it was. I gave it crap for it not being a lightweight. I mean that in comparison to the original one. It's still a lightweight knife. It is well under that ounce per inch. It's not dramatically lighter than the original. As far as the action goes, again, your typical Spyderco Japan VG10 operation. It's just it's fine. It's a backlock. It's not exciting, but it works great. As you can see, it still flicks out pretty good. You can easily one-hand close it. This one's pretty new, so it's not very broken in. Once they break in, they drop very, very quickly. Running on phosphor bronze washers. Pretty easy to take apart in service if they do get gunked up. They're not too bad. A little sweary because the backlocks always are, but I don't think it's any dramatically more so than any other. Yeah, I think it's the action is fine. That's exactly what you'd expect from one of these. So my conclusion is it's $115 for VG10 and fancy plastic. If you're paying by the inch, I guess that's pretty good. But it's not dramatically more expensive given its size, than some of the other Spyderco Japan VG10 knives. But I think all of them are pretty overpriced at the moment. So I have to apply that to this one too. I guess this one bothers me slightly less because, again, the size and uniqueness of it. But because they're not going to make a crap ton of these. So, but still, I just don't see the value in it. I mean, for $168, yes, it's smaller, but is that half an inch going to matter on the blade once you get up to being this big? I don't think so. The Native Chief is like $168, and Native Chief, you're getting S30V, G10 handles. It's still all that same right hand, left hand, completely ambidextrous carry. Does everything the Police 4 lightweight will do for not dramatically more money, and I think it will do it a lot better. So I would definitely go for the Native Chief, spend the extra money, skip a couple meals out. You can't leave the house right now anyway. This is April of 2020. Skip a couple meals out and just upgrade and get the Native Chief. I like it a lot better. This isn't horrible. I don't hate it. But yeah, not my jam for sure at this price. If it was $90, I'd probably be saying a lot nicer things about it. But or 85, even better. But yeah, can't quite go with the 11550 on this one, but it is a very cool design, and I'm glad they at least kept the design around because lots of people really love the Police 4. I'm glad that it lives on in some form. I just wish it was a bit less expensive. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.